What you're about to see is a video. I'm probably going to get some grief for it. I shot it yesterday. I'm just doing this little preamble to explain because it might be annoying, as if I'm not annoying enough to some of you. I set the camera up vertically. I think my intention was just to do a short, and then I kept talking, as I tend to do. And it was like 35 minutes of me blathering about this nonsense. It's not nonsense, it's very serious, but it's just this whole Israel Palestinian situation, just the way I see it, with a little history peppered in. But I'm trying to be cool about it because I think that keeping the temperature down, putting some reality out there and some facts, this is just my take on it. Take it for how you want it to take. You want to take it. I can't help you think this out, but it's just the way I see it. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm just apologizing up front about the vertical camera. It's a pet peeve of mine on YouTube. When you're watching something on a TV, on your computer screen or on your TV, you always want it to go horizontally. When the camera is vertically, to me, that's annoying. However, some of you watch this on your phones, you might actually appreciate this video. Hope you enjoy it. Okay. This will probably get me some grief. We all know I'm not afraid of grief. I've just been seeing these posts lately, and it's just, I'm tired of it because I'm personally over the whole situation, and I'm talking about the situation in the Middle East, right? This has been going on my whole life. And I'm pretty good with history. I don't know everything there is to know about the ancient world over there. I've forgotten way more than I can remember. We all learn the story that, so for 3,000 years ago, Moses with the slaves in Egypt marched around the desert for 40 years, eventually arrived there, Jewish state, right, the Hebrews. But when you look into it, you find out that there was actually people over there who was already speaking their language, I think they were called the Canaanites, and then there was other tribes and all that. It wasn't a country. It wasn't like the way that we look at the world today. There's people meandering around at that point, And so this thing about property and land and who it belongs to, and Palestine was created pretty recently. So there's a lot of crazy nonsense there, and there's no point really arguing over that. All you really have to think about is, and this is just, it sounds cliched, but it's a fact. If the Palestinians or other Arabs in the area that are Islamists, if they put down their arms tomorrow, there would be peace. If the Jews put down their arms tomorrow, they'd be wiped off the face of the earth. That's it. And so for these people that are out there protesting in favor of the Palestinians, nobody wants to see innocents die, but, and I say but, like, oh no, here it comes, you're going to say this. No, I'm just saying, the people in that area, whether they elected these people or just allowed it to happen, they've been ruled by Hamas. You can go back decades. You can go back to the birth of the internet and look at videos from 30 years ago, and you will see little kids in Palestine with that flag, all garbed up with real weapons, being trained to hate Jews and want to kill them. It's crazy. I saw it back then. It's nuts. It's always been going on. Other Arab countries in the region don't even want to take Palestinian refugees. Why is that? That's because they've been brainwashed with this way of thinking. They don't want those people there because they're afraid they're going to cause trouble. Watch the video from October 7th. Nobody's talking about October 7th. Watch that. That is friggin' horrifying, man. Crazy murdering bastards floating down out of the sky over a bunch of young people at a concert. It would be like if you were out here in the desert. These young people go to all these concerts like raves and whatnot. I guess that's really what it was. These guys just parachuting down, mowing everybody down, murdering people, raping people, the whole thing, taking people hostage. We know what happened. Nobody wants to remember what happened on October 7th. I don't have a dog in this fight here, you know. I'm not of Jewish descent. I'm not of Arab descent. I'm just looking at it like the way it is. And I know people who've been there, been to Israel. I know people from there. I know people born and raised there. I know some of these people had served in the IDF and all that. I've run into plenty of Arab people as well. I've had conversations with them, and that's always interesting. I used to talk to this guy on a daily basis from Iran. Was it Iran? No, Iraq. And those were funny conversations. You know, Israel's an interesting place because it's safe. Used to be. You know, every religion could be practiced there. Do whatever you want. You'd be a free person. Nobody's persecuting you. But if you were Jewish and you went to Gaza and you wore a Jewish garb or something or a flag, see how well it's going to work out for you. It's not going to work out good. You know, imagine growing up. Now, people will say, that's what the Palestinians are going through. But imagine, they let workers from Palestine cross the border into Israel, where they were, every single day to work. They'd come in, they'd work, then they'd go back into Gaza. So I'm just saying, I'm just tired of the whole thing. I'm tired of watching this and having the media use it to get us all riled up and angry, to divide us and create division and problems, not just here in the U.S., but all the other countries. I'm seeing this as a lesson in, finally, this kind of a relatively new phrase. It's been around a long time. Sort of thing we used to say back in the 80s when I was in the Marines. You know, fuck around and find out. Well, they finally pushed it. They finally did something so blatant. And I'm talking about these guys that paratrooped down on October 7th and murdered all these people, raped all these women, did all these horrible things. That's enough, man. It's enough. It's over. So the way I look at it, sounds cold. I understand it. It's not nice, but it's just the reality. You know, reality and truth, they are what they are. And it has nothing to do with feelings. You got to separate your feelings here. This needs to happen at this point. These two groups right now need to fight, and the rest of us need to stay out of it. That's just the way I see it. You're thinking in the now, and I get it. I'm thinking long term down the road. If this doesn't get nipped in the bud right now, one side has to win over the other. Then it's just going to keep prolonging. There's been peace talks, there's been peace, then it goes right back to bombing and terrorist bullshit over and over and over again. I'm 57 years old. I'm done watching it. I'm done already. A lot of those people over there are my age. They're done with it. They're over it. Let's just deal with this shit now, get it over with, which means a lot of people are going to die. Both sides. That is how it is. And I got news for you. A, nobody gets out alive in this life. And B, this has been going on with human beings on this planet as long as human beings have been around. You're never going to get around. If you think this is going to stop, if you've got something in your mind, this like you think there's going to be some sort of utopia where we're all getting along, singing Kumbaya and all this other stuff, that's a beautiful thing. It would be nice. And it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. So I wish it would happen. But with differences in religion and people in power manipulating things, pitting one group against another for their own reasons, personal gain, big business, whatever it may be, military-industrial complex, there's all kinds. There's probably stuff going on that we have no idea. You know, for all we know, this is all just a game. Some alien group up there, like, you know, they're just farming our souls at this point, right? They want us to kill each other because they get to do stuff with the souls. Who the hell knows? Who knows? I don't know what's going on. But I'm tired of watching it. I'm tired of getting upset about it. I'm not going to get upset about it over anymore. My advice is stop watching it. Stop talking about it, most of you, because most people that are putting stuff out there, they don't know what they're talking about. And that's it. I mean, if you had a way out, I could be wrong here, but if you had a way out, if you had to write down all the positive things that have come out of Israel and Jewish people in general, versus all the things that have come out of like Gaza or Hamas or Islam. You know, those group of people, like, what have they produced? You look at both groups, what have they produced that could help or benefit the majority of people on the planet? Whether it's, you know, scientific things, the medical field, business, whatever. Write down your positives and negatives for both. See what you come up with there. I mean, I think part of the reason why Jews have been kind of persecuted forever is because they're so good at doing well. I think that the mistake that they maybe make or have made is that they do very well for themselves and their own group, and they tend to help themselves out. I don't know that they're out there helping everybody else out. I don't know. I know that here in this country with like the Catholic Church, Christian organizations, that sort of thing, they do a lot for whole areas. People that doesn't matter what their religion are, they're doing the good. They're doing good for people less fortunate. I don't know if Jewish community centers are doing that. I don't know. But it does seem to me like that they're very smart. They're very good at doing things, getting things done, doing well for themselves, making money, all this, and helping their own group out. And I suppose maybe that's part of the thing. Maybe other people would look at that and be jealous about it or whatever. I don't know. I do see that with my own eyeballs, but that doesn't make them bad. You know, if the people in Palestine or other Arab countries were doing really well, and then they took what they make. I'll give you a for instance on this. Think about this for a minute. For decades, right, other countries have been buying fuel from like Iran, right? Or Iraq was selling oil, right? Well, what did they do with that money? Were they helping everybody in their country out? No. With the billions of dollars that these countries get, even Venezuela, places like that are living on oil, where's that money going? If it went to like make their countries better and provide for their people, it'd be a lot harder to talk somebody into strapping a bomb to their back and walking onto a bus and killing a bunch of people, innocent people, unsuspecting people, not in a war zone. If they had the basics. America might not be perfect, but we have fail-safe systems. We have a security net. You're allowed to do what you want here for the most part. You can make your own money. You can create your own wealth. You just come up with a good idea and work hard, and you can make something good happen. You could do that in Israel, too. I don't know how easy that is to do in Iran. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I don't know everything. I'm just saying. You know, when you got nothing to look forward to, and I didn't want to get too into this, but it's kind of crazy. There's a thing, the Jefferson Quran that came out. For those of you that don't understand, even before the USA was, and by the way, I'm not trying to dump on all Arabs or any of that stuff. We know that that's not the right way to look at things. There's just small groups in every group. There's bad groups here in this country. I'm just saying. We had a problem in the Mediterranean in the 1760s, 50s, 60s, 70s, where Islamists, right, out of Tripoli, were capturing our ships, killing the crew, holding officers for ransom, enslaving the crew. That's what they were doing. And Jefferson, and I think it was Adams, both, I think that's correct, met with and spoke with these people, these Islamists, right, from Libya, Tripoli, and said, why are you doing this? And the answer was, our religion tells us to do that. And Jefferson's like, what? That's crazy. So he goes out seeking an English version of the Quran so he could read it. And what he read there blew his mind to the point where he came back to the U.S. and he had a Quran, English Quran printed here. And it came with a foreword in it that basically said, this book is crazy, and anybody who believes what's in it is insane. This is real stuff here. So, and when Jefferson eventually became president, he sent the Marines over there, and this is in the Marine Corps hymn, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. They sent the Marines over there. I'm a Marine. And we kicked the shit out of them, And we didn't hear anything again for over 200 years. So I'm just saying, the only thing that some of these people, at least the ones with this mindset that end up ruling over some of these countries, because most of those people, they would just go along with anything. And part of the issue is, and this is more truth, and you're not going to like hearing it, I had too many friends over there that still have nightmares over being in Iraq and Afghanistan, just dealing with the people. Because their religion tells them that you can't have sex with any woman other than your wife. All right? But if it's an infidel, you could rape them, murder them, cut their head off, whatever. You could have sex with animals, all of it. You could have sex with anything, little boys. That was the really bad one. So we had our guys over there. They don't know this stuff, you know, especially the first wave over there in Iraq in the second war there. I mean, my friends were just, they're still upset over it. Little boys tugging on their shirts because the Iraqi army, that was their thing. So young boys go out every day, or I think it was once a week. I think it was pretty regular, like Thursdays or something. And they just tug on soldiers because they would let men have sex with them and to give them money. And then that's how they fed their family. That's kind of crazy. And then there's the whole incest thing that's going on, which again, this is going to get some flack, but I'm not judging. I'm just saying I think we all know incest is not a good thing. And the result of it is a warped brain pan. You know what I'm saying? You're not thinking right. You accept anything. This is a big problem for even training a lot of those people. I'll tell you what, watch a movie called The Man Who Would Be King. Michael Caine, Sean Connery. It depicts things in a way that we still deal with today. Just watch trying to train these guys. They can't do jumping jacks, or they don't know left from right. It's really crazy. So when you have this sort of system ingrained for a couple thousand years, it's real easy to talk those people. I mean, you're living in a dirt hut. You know, you got to walk a quarter of a mile to get water, and that water isn't even clean. There's no real schooling in a lot of these areas, right? You know, we went there, you know, not saying it was the right thing to do, whatever, but while there was these things called provisional reconstruction teams. I tried to get into it in 2007, and that's what it was about, making the life better for those people, digging wells, giving them the first clean drinking water they've ever had, building schools, trying to educate people, all of it. So, and the bummer is that it was the governments over there now, a lot of them, not all of them, it's religion. It's their religion. They're to the T on what they're being told to do. They're allowed to lie to you. That's as long as they're supporting their religious belief, they could say whatever they want to you. And, you know, they either want you to convert, or they want you to pay a tax, or they're going to subjugate you. That's how it works, you know. You would think that in this age, this year, 2024, that wasn't happening, but that's still the mindset. There's no other way to deal with that, because they will tell you whatever you want to hear. We pay them. We're giving them billions of dollars to Iran just so they won't go to war with people. What's that about, man? Do you ever think about that? You know, it's really insane. So my thinking is, let them fight it out. Let them deal with it. Don't believe what the media is telling you. Don't listen to college professors. Don't listen to everything you're seeing on there. Let it work itself out. I don't really believe that Israel's interested in just murdering everybody, killing everybody. Right now I see the self-defense anyhow, but if they could root this out and redo this whole area, figure things out, we'll see how it goes. But the bottom line is it's going to work out one way or another. It's just going to be time. I might not be here anymore. They might have to wipe out. Everybody doesn't agree with them. I mean, that's the only way to win. Again, Marine Corps mindset, right? You want peace on Earth? This is how crazy this is. There's no such thing. The only way to have peace on Earth is to kill everybody else that doesn't agree with you. So, short of that, you've got to start being like, okay, I'm okay with the fact that you don't think the same way I do. If you want us to have some sort of no peace unless you basically wipe out everybody else who doesn't think the way you do. And that's the mindset of the Islamists in that area. Israel could have wiped Gaza out decades ago. They didn't want to. Why would you want to just kill a bunch of people for no reason? But those people just, not all of them, but a lot of those people from that area just keep doing this crazy stuff. It's nuts, man. The amount of effort that Israel's put into defensive measures to save their lives, it's pretty crazy. So I'm just, it's aggravating at this point to watch it anymore and listen to these morons that are, on these campuses creating these problems. And then when they arrest them, I was watching something the other day, almost 50% of the people that they arrested, I don't remember which college it was now. I don't think it was UCLA. I forget which college it was. But almost 50% of them weren't even students. And when you look at the pictures, and this is not me trying to pick on a particular group of people based on skin color or anything like that, but when you look at the pictures, there's a lot of dark-skinned people there that don't look like your American black people, you could tell. And when you look at these people crossing the border, what do we got? Like 8 or 9 million people in the last few years have crossed over the border. We don't know where they are. When you look at the pictures of the people that have been crossing over, it's like military-age men, most of them. A lot of them are coming from the Middle East. A lot of them are coming from China. It's all real. This is not fantasy. No, I'm not making this up. You can look it up. It's right there. You can see it. So, you got to read Saul Alinsky, Rules for Radicals. You should do that. And you should understand what this is really about, because there are people in our own government, definitely people in the college system, and they're being funded by pretty radical leftists. They want chaos. They want to take down capitalism. They want us all to be equally miserable. I don't know why they want that. I wish I did. It sure would be nice to figure this out. This useful idiots was a term that Lenin came up with. Vladimir Lenin, not John Lennon. Lenin, not Lennon. That's what these young people are. You could program a bunch of nonsense in their head, get them all motivated to do a bunch of dumb things. It's not so different from what they do in other parts of the world, where they take ignorant young people and strap bombs to their backs, get them all delusional about being a martyr or something, and then having them go in and kill a bunch of unsuspecting people. Walk into a place with a bomb on your back and kill a bunch of unsuspecting people, or parachuting down during some sort of concert to murder a bunch of unarmed people, unsuspecting unarmed people, just there trying to live their best lives. That's different from where we're at right now in this region, where everybody knows what's happening. This is a war now. This is a war now. There are no more innocents at this point. Everybody knows. There's nothing unsuspecting at this point. Everything's being telegraphed. Israel's telling me what they're doing. So it sucks. It's a terrible thing. So there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing I can do about it. But I just wanted to get some truth out here. Right? It's just the truth. And the truth is, the way I see it, pull away, let Israel deal with it, and we'll deal with it all when the dust settles. I do think this. I think that if Israel really decided to, take the gloves off, because the pro-Palestinian movement is trying to make it sound like Israel's doing all these horrible things. Do you know how bad it would be for the Palestinians if Israel really went in there full bore, just to kill everybody? It'd be over already. Would have been over a couple months ago. Would have been over. Could have went in there and just wiped everybody out. They're trying not to wipe everybody out, people. Smarten up here. It easily could have been over. So I believe that once they get to a stopping point, once they've taken out enough of the bad actors over there, they're going to do what they can to have some sort of peaceful rebuild. But they're not going to allow Hamas to get a foothold in there again. It would be stupid of them to do so. If it was the other way around, and if Hamas really had what it took, or Iran had what it took, that whole thing with Iran, I personally believe that had more to do with our own stuff going on here with our president and everything else. Like a phone call. It's like, okay, we're going to do this thing. Yeah, no problem. Just, let us know what day. We'll shoot it all down. You guys will look pretty tough like you did the right thing, but there's no way we're going to let you go in there. Okay, we understand. Like, that's, to me, that's what was going on there. Iran can't win a conventional war with anybody. No country over there can. This myth, like we lost. We didn't lose anything, man. We left. We left. And the way that we left, especially in Afghanistan, was fucking pathetic. And I know somebody who was over there at that time. It was not cool. It was not cool the way that went down and what we left behind. It's just so crazy. By the way, I'll jump all the way back to Vietnam and I'll say this. We didn't lose in Vietnam either. We left. Big friggin' difference. We won every friggin' battle over there. Even the Tet Offensive, which we had intel on with that. It wasn't as big of a surprise as history wants you to make it out to be. But sure, hey, that was the thing. They took over some cities. Hue was one that took a couple weeks to get back. We got it all back. They didn't keep anything after Tet. We kicked the shit out of everybody. And there's been so many documentaries on it now where Chinese and North Vietnamese generals, right, fought in the war. They now will tell you, you can see this, you can look it up, don't believe me. They say if we would have stayed another 6 months, they would have had to capitulate. But we didn't. We pulled out. So, believe me, if we want to win something, we, not only the technology, but we know how to do it. We can add anything like that. So there's weird stuff going on behind the scenes. Things are happening for other reasons that we'll mostly never be privy to. A lot of the information's out there, but when you start talking about it, it just sounds like conspiracy theory. And then years later, all the stuff gets revealed and you realize, oh no, that was the truth. Anyhow, I'm getting some text messages here. I'm going to do a phone call with somebody in a minute. I know that this video is going to ruffle some feathers, and I'm going to get probably a whole bunch of negative comments here. It won't be the first time. I'm just saying, you can't, I'm not supporting, it might sound like I'm supporting Israel over, to a certain extent. I have to agree that that does sound like what I'm doing, but I see them as people that are just not, it's just a crazy, you just have to let them deal with it. Just let this happen, because once this particular thing ends, I think we'll have peace for quite some time after that. And, several years from now, 20 years from now, 100 years from now, eventually everything is, whatever. People go on. But you can't make peace with a group of people that want to cut your head off. I don't know. I don't see, I've heard somebody said, this is what, the whole reason for this, I saw some woman on Instagram with this pro-Palestinian thing, and she's talking about the Jewish people in the way that we see Palestinians acting. Like, she's saying that she's seeing little Jewish kids being raised to kill Palestinians and everything else. I haven't seen that. I haven't gone looking for it, but then again, I was never looking for the Palestinian youth being programmed either. That was just there. Look around, it's right there. I think you'd have to be hunting and really looking to find that if you were trying to find Israeli kids being programmed to kill Palestinians. I think that's a little crazy. I just think that's nuts. It's just insane. And even when on October 7th, when all that happened, those people were taken hostages and all those women were raped and everything else. In Palestine, people were handing out candies and singing and chanting and everything else. And that's the way a lot of these people act over there. It's horrendous, man. I wish there was an easy answer, but there isn't one. And again, they're going to have to work it out. It's like a neighborhood fight. You got a couple guys on the street that don't like each other. Eventually, they're going to fight. And best thing to do is let them do it. Stay out of it. Let them deal with their bullshit. That's just how I look at it. Now, some people are going to be listening and go, but the U.S. is helping them. Yeah, absolutely. without our help, they'd probably be wiped off the face of the earth. Is that what you want to see? Because there is no other alternative here. There's no other alternative, right? If Israel lost a war with Hamas because they're supported by Iran and every other ISIS, whatever other group you want to throw into this, if they all got together and could work together to wipe out Israel, we stayed away, what would happen then? You think that would be the end of it? Then they wouldn't be coming after us or going into Europe and everything else. You guys do know about the whole thing with the Crusades, like what led up to the Crusades. It's like 800 years of terrorism throughout Europe, where Islam came all over North Africa, up through the Iberian Peninsula there, all through Spain and Portugal, back around to Italy and all this, where everywhere they went, where they found a church, they killed everybody. They built mosques on the sites of the churches. Right, the Crusades were a response to something like 800 years of full-blown terrorism, man, all across Europe. It wasn't just Christians deciding to go over there to the Holy Land for no reason, all right? So if you let Israel fall, well, that happens all over again. It happens all over again. So I think we have a historical record of the way that different groups of people act at this point. I think that's the basis. I think I'm finally coming to the point, I guess, that you talk something out long enough, you get to some real truths here. If you look at the historical record of Islam and you look at the historical record of the Hebrews, you know, who murdered more people throughout history? Who engaged in slavery more so? I mean, the slave trade, people in this country have slavery so wrong. They think white people invented slavery. They think only people of color were slaves. You look at the Islamic nations that existed in the northern part of Africa, all the way into the Middle East, going back thousands of years. The slave trade from West Africa, going to North Africa and into the Middle East, existed for thousands of years before the New World, the U.S., was discovered. We know that it was already discovered by the Vikings and everything else. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying here. And it wasn't, you know, white people throwing nets on black people and everything else. There were black tribes that were engaging in the slave trade, that were enslaving their own people from their own continent and selling them off to these people. All right. And Islam, right, they would take ships up to Ireland and Britain and into Scandinavia, and they would kidnap, you know, people, men and women, a lot of women, white people, and bring them down and enslave them. That was going on for thousands of years, man. So when you start digging, and if you're going to look at those two groups of people, again, I'm just saying, there's this way of thinking, screw everybody else. If you don't think the same way I do, I get to kill you, cut your head off, rape you, take money from you, subjugate you, do all these things. And then I'm not sure what the Jewish people did other than do really well, make money, help themselves out. Maybe you could see that as being slightly selfish or something, but does that deserve being killed? I don't think so. Am I wrong? You could tell me how wrong I am in the comments here. You know, again, I'm not an angry guy. This is not coming from anger. I'm just saying that when I look at history, and there's a group of people that have consistently been acting the same way for thousands of years, and it's not good, I kind of tend to put them on this side over here. It's like, well, why are we still dealing with this? Because everybody else seems to have, I can't think of the word right now. You know, it seems like the rest of the world's kind of grown and developed their brain and tried to get to a better place in humanity and tried to help other people out. But for some reason, this one way of thinking is still thinking the way it was thinking thousands of years ago. To me, it just seems kind of crazy. So that's all I'm saying. Be better. Be better human beings. Be kind to one another. And don't allow this to ruin your day, man. There's nothing you can do about it. If you want to do something about it, go over there and do something about it. Instead of pissing, moaning, bitching, trying to make everybody else angry, you're taking your problems, your anger, and trying to make everybody else feel the same way. save up a few $100s, buy a plane ticket, and go over there and put your friggin' ass on the line. Fight for what you believe in if you're so strongly opinionated about it. I think Iran, did I see that Iran was offering free tuition to the people that were protesting in this country for the Palestinians? Go to Iran. Just go there, man. You know, with all the money, you could probably take everybody that has been arrested at these Palestinian protests on college campuses. Matter of fact, there was a group, I forget which university it was, but a bunch of these college guys, I think it was a fraternity, went in and held up the American flag and wouldn't let the pro-Palestinian protesters come near the flag and all that. And they've raised, there was a GoFundMe for it, and they basically were given over $400,000. I'll tell you what, donate the $400,000 to plane tickets to the people arrested at these Palestinian protests, and give them all a plane ticket to Gaza or Iran. Go live there. Go, if that's what you believe, go live there and see how that works for, especially the women, ladies. Yeah, the feminists, all of that, you know, the LGBTQ people that are the pro-Palestinian people. Just go over there. Go live there. And you love it so much, you think that they're being persecuted and all that. Go there and fight for that over there, where you can really make a difference. I think that's a solution. All right, I'm done. Feel free to give me as much grief as you want. Have a great day. Be a better person. Work on that every single day. Be kind to one another. I'll catch you in the next one.